My first impression, I thought my mother didn't want me. And it just hit me hard like that. But when I got in the bus and I sat down, I looked, and she was just crying. It was hurting her, too. It was hurting me to see that. I'll never forget. All the mothers were crying.
It wasn't really about education. We didn't really learn English, basic English or math.
All right, Shalom, Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushua, Barakathum, double honors to the apostles, the great millstone. This is GMS Fortress, aka GMS Beloved Truth, GMS Fort Judah, and
GMS Yeshaga Bar.
all right, and we this is a continuation of Northern Kingdom, how their customs and culture correlates back to the scriptures. Further proving that they the Most High's children, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, Gad. All right. So we continue back in her diary. Name of the book once again, My Heart Is on the Ground, and we go back in her diary starting at on April 17th. Slacking. All right, and it says on page 74, April 17th, it says, "Pretty Eagle is back from the infirmary. You still have the fainting sickness, I told her. You should not have come here to school. I was much angry with her. They will send you home. I scolded Mr. Captain Pratt. Has enough dying this winter past. More I was feeling guilty that she came here to be with me when she was sick. She tells me it is not the fainting sickness, she tells me. She has learned to have a trance, like my grandmother. I asked her if she prayed to get this trance. She says yes. But she must practice more, she tells it. So she can better help our people. This she says that when she has a trance, I must tell everyone she gets fainting spells. I must never tell them it is a trance. So then all those fainting spells you had at home were trances, I asked. She said, basically asking a question. I'll read it again. It says, so then all those fainting spells you had at home were trances, I asked. Only she smiles and says yes. And when you go into the word trances, it basically spells basically. Because you got Deuteronomy 18:10. All right. And the reason why she did it secretly is because she didn't want anybody to basically know. Because if basically it's witchcraft when you go into it. So I'll read a little bit and then we can come out with the scripture. It says, only she smiles and says, yes. I asked if our people know this, just her mother and father, she says, and your grandmother, who has been teaching me the powers. Your grandmother says I have good medicine. Oh, I am jealous. My grandmother teaching Pretty Eagle, saying she has good medicine. And all the while, my grandmother knowing I wanted to do this and telling me, wait until you get older. Pretty Eagle is my age. Was grandmother just being kind to me? I asked Pretty Eagle if she had a spirit helper. She says, yes. At home, she purified herself and fasted and went to the plains alone. All the things I wanted to do, her spirit helper is the eagle. He came to her when she was alone on the plains and told her the Indians and the buffalo are the same. The buffalo are given to us by the spirit of the earth. Now they are gone. Soon we will be gone, unless we children do not forget our people and our ways. Then he gave her a vision. He told her to come here to show the children it is not wrong to be here, to learn the ways of the white man, learn their songs, their history, their artwork, their religion, so we can make our way in the world. But never forget our way, our own way. Her spirit helper told her she would leave her mark here. How? She does not know. A vision, Pretty Eagle had a vision. Always I thought someday I would grow up and have visions like my grandmother. But how could I be jealous? She is my dear friend. Again, she made me promise never to tell them here that she has trances, or they will send her back for sure. They will fear her better. They think she has the fainting sickness. Then she says, I must help her. She cannot do what she was sent to do without my help. Will you do this for me? She asked. Yes, but oh, how small. I felt like a mouse chased into a hole by an eagle. How unworthy next to Pretty Eagle. And you promised never to let them know I have trances, no matter what happens. I promise. But oh, I was jealous. All right, so Deuteronomy 18:10.
Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10.
You can take it to you can take it to 12.
Deuteronomy 18 and 10. It say, there shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire.
Right, because it's basically witchcraft, and passing through the fire is sacrificing. And when you go into the word trances, it's the word medium, and it goes back into witchcraft. Go ahead.
Paganism.
Right, come.
Or that user of divination, or an observer of time, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consultant, familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer.
That's why even at the Indian, basically even at home, they kept it amongst themselves that they had this type of power. Only person knew was her grandmother, the little girl who doing the trances, and the father. That's it, which is the chief of the whole village.
So she was dealing with familiar spirits, in a sense, to get a little spiritual power on the left hand side.
For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Most High, Yahweh.
That's why when the buffalo leave, they leaving.
And because of these abominations, Yahweh, thy power, doth drive them out before them from before thee. It's like, that's 12.
Okay.
So that was one of the reasons on why Esau the white man came down and got rid of them men of Buffalo. Killed the buffalo, starved them out, and then took their children to boarding school.
That's right. And that's part of the curses once again. Let me see. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 verses 15. Because you got to remember that North American Indians, when you read Second Esdras, I believe is it the 13th chapter where it says they went a long way, about a year and a half, to do their customs in another land that they'd never done in the land of Israel. So the North American Indians had to uphold those customs. If not, those curses would have come. And part of their curses were their demise amongst, due to the so-called white man, which is the Lord's sword. Whenever you get out of line, the Lord set up nations to come against you. Especially if you part of His. So this is Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verses 15. It says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all His commandments and His statutes which I have commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." All right. It's basically roughly paraphrasing to say, if you basically one of the curses is He's gonna remove you out of the land.
And that's the reason why the Romans came and ransacked the temple. And that's the reason why that the Latin tribes, the northern kingdom, had to flee, they went into slavery out of Shemalezer.
Here we go. Deuteronomy 28 and 25, it says, "The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all kingdoms of the earth."
So wherever Israel at, they scattered across the world in different kingdoms of the earth, which is prophesied.
In this case, when Esau came over here, the so-called white man came over here, he scattered y'all and put y'all on reservations. All right. So, and he basically took your tribal land. So, let me see.
And took your tribal names as well.
Come.
And we place y'all with proverbs and bywords.
Yep, called you savages. So. Oh, you know what? Slack. I was just reading this yesterday. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 2. This is 2nd Esdras 2, chapter 2, verses 7. It says, "Let them be scattered abroad among the heathen. Let their names be put out of the earth, for they have despised my covenant." Let me see. There's another scripture say He's going to take them away from His face, meaning that basically their homeland. It's like, I really ain't got to hit too much on this, but just to prove, like we were saying earlier. Let me see. Oh, 2nd Esdras chapter 2, verses 1. Uh, 1 and 30, it says, "I gather you together as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings. But now, what shall I do unto you? I will cast you out from my face." And basically, it's talking about Jerusalem, but the Most High gave America to the North American Indians, and that was kind of like the new paradise for them. So basically, he scattered y'all abroad, just like he did the southern kingdom, Judah, and basically did the same thing to y'all. Okay, this is
I got Salaki. I got a precept with that scripture you just read. It say, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets."
I'll read what chapter? What book?
Matthew 20-37.
Go ahead.
It say, Matthew 23-37 say, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophet, and stonest them which thou hast sent to thee. Thou, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gather her chickens under her wings, and ye will not."
Yeah, so y'all made the Backstreet stone.
Stone.
Yeah, Backstreet stone. And y'all supposed to came over here and kept the law, statutes, and commandments. And the Les Lunas stone in New Mexico, but y'all went away anyway.
That's right. Okay, so the next point, this is in our diary, June. Let me see. I'll start at June 19th. Cause you got 21. I don't see it. June 19th. It says, "I have spoken with Red Robe last night at fading time. I went to her little house. Her husband was not there, and she made me sit and gave me tea. I did not tell Red Rose about Pretty Eagle's trances, though I wished I could. I told Red Rose I did not feel I could leave Pretty Eagle this summer, that she needs me. This is a wonderful chance for me, for you, Little Rose," she said in our language. "You like the Quakers, but if you feel you cannot leave your friend, then I will ask Captain Pratt if you can stay and care for her. Sometimes we must stay where we are needed." When Red Road said that, it was as if I had a vision. Of course, it came to me then what my mouse spirit helper told me, how part of bravery is known when you are needed and stepping forth at the right time. Yes, this is my brave act, to care for Pretty Eagle, because she is doing important work here. It says, "Oh, my heart was so glad to find my brave act that I hugged Red Robe and thanked her. I told her I wished she had married my father, because she is like a second mother to me. Better than my own mother." She scolded softly then and said I must not say ugly words about my real mother. Then she smiled and said if she had married my father, I would soon be having a little sister or brother, because she is to have a child. I hugged her again, and I am very happy for her, and I feel a little guilty because I could not tell her about Pretty Eagle's trances. Oh, I did not know how hard it would be to keep a promise to a friend, but we always keep our word. It is part of our honor. All right, Matthew 5:34. Right, and unlike Esau, the children of Israel, we try to keep, like it said, keep our word. We try to, because that's actually part of the law, you know.
All right, this is Matthew chapter 5, verse 34. It says, "But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is the Most High's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool. Neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black.
Take the 38.
But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh from evil.
And that's why our people had the custom of keeping their word, not contracts.
Yeah,
Yea, ye have heard that it have been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
Yeah,
What's 48?
God.
I mean 38.
Yeah, that's 38.
yeah, that's all they're saying. Yeah.
James 5:12.
That we supposed to be men and women of our word
Yeah,
and not have to make contracts with each other and bring up paper talking about, because that's what Esau did,
yeah.
which he didn't hold any of his contracts. But that's why she said at the end, that's our custom to keep our word.
This,
Good.
this is James chapter 5, verse 12. But above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by the earth, neither by any other oath. But let your yea be yea, and your nay be yea, lest ye fall into condemnation.
And they understand that basic principle because once you go back on your word, which that's against scripture. Because if you make an oath, you're supposed to do it. That shows that you're an upstanding man, or you keep your word, you can be trusted.
That's it.
All right, so the next one is August 6th. August 6th, it says the boys and girls who were camping at Tags Run came home. It says they are very hot and dirty and tired. All the teachers laughed when one boy said, "We are so glad to be home. We want to live in houses like civilized people." It says, does this mean that Indian children here will no longer want to live in teepees at home or swim in streams? Have we all lost our faces? Was my brother right for going home before he loses his face? Oh, I am so confused. And that's scripture. This is Jeremiah 17:4. Yeah, because once the North American Indians, right along with everybody else, got integrated into American society, you lose your face. Basically, you lose your culture or who you are, your heritage.
And this is Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. It says, "And thou even thyself shall discontinue from thy heritage."
All right, and part of your heritage was over 613 laws and commandments from the Most High, Yahweh, and his son Yahweh Shai. All right, the laws of Moses. All right, once you discontinue from those, that's when you start to wane in the society. You start to break down as a nation. All right, and that's why the so-called white man was instrumental in bringing down who you would call the North American Indians, which are guys.
And then, when they say our heritage is discontinued, they're really actually saying that we ain't got our heritage anymore, even though these other nations are trying to be a carbon copy of our customs.
That's right.
So even though they carbon copy of our customs, man, that's the reason why we got to get back to our original standpoint.
And once again, I'm gonna read 2 Esdras chapter 13 because this is the oath that they kept. All right, after being in captivity, after the northern kingdom was kicked out of Jerusalem.
Hey, you want me to read this whole scripture real quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Salaki, they say, "And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage, that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
Right, that he gave you. All right. So the Most High gave you the North American Indians the custom that they uphold, wearing the fringes, keeping the law, keeping the Sabbath. All right.
Passover.
When it comes to laws, basically dealing with brothers and marriage and things in that sort. The Most High gave you that law. That's why y'all got the culture y'all got. The North American Indians.
Yeah, that the law, the laws and the scriptures is for us to govern the whole world, man. That was used to govern the whole world, even these other nations as well, govern them too. So it's gonna get back to that soon, you know.
That's what the kingdom of heaven is about.
Yep.
This is 2nd Esdras chapter 13, verses 39. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes. And Gad is one of the 10 tribes. It says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land, which is Jerusalem, in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive. And that's actual history. All right, it says, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. America, South America, Central and North America. It says where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. All right, so here in America, that's why you had the brother mention the Back Creek Stone, and right outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico, the Los Lunas Stone. All right, which had the Hebrew engraved on the stone, which had the Most High's name, Yahweh. All right, and they got some. They use a misinterpreted form or a corrupt form of the Lord's name right now. I believe they call him Yahweh, something to that extent, Yahweh, something like that. But the name of the Lord is actually Yahweh. All right, which they had engraved in the stone. All right, so they tried to keep their customs here. All right, and that's what they get their culture from. All right, because of the children of Israel. All right, and once they got into captivity under a so-called white man, that's when they start to lose their heritage completely. All right. So that was it on that. And do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. So this is August 8th. All right. Back in the diary, it says Pretty Eagle has had a postal from the agent at the Rosebud Agency. It said her father has taken another wife. He has 2 now. All right. I am so glad my father never took more than one after my mother would not let him wed. Red Road, Slocket. I read again and say, I am so glad my father never took more than one after my mother would not let him wed Red Road. But this postal also said that one of Pretty Eagle's brothers is ailing. He pledged himself in the Sundance. Okay, Deuteronomy 21 and 15. And just hold it for a second. It says, he pledged himself in the Sundance. He fasted and allowed wooden skewers to be put through the skin around his shoulders. Then heavy buffalo skulls were hung by thongs from the skewers, and he dragged them around until their weight tore the skewers loose. All the while, he was dancing around and praying, Wankan Tumka, have mercy on me. Let the tribe live long and bring back the buffalo. Let no one get sick, so the tribe will increase. And what was happening during that time, the tribes was actually decreasing. All right? And that goes back to the curses. All right. In Deuteronomy. Okay, so one of those curses, he will, take away thy kind, meaning the animals. All right. It says, I'll continue. It says, it's like many young men do this every year. Some to pray for the tribe, some to give thanks for special favors. It means they will someday be great chiefs, but also some die and some get sick. I hope Pretty Eagle's brother does not die. Many young braves have died from this. I am very worried. You can go ahead with that.
Deuteronomy 21 and
15.
Deuteronomy 21 and 15 say, if a man have two wives.
All right, which going back to that point and on page 127 in the diary, because his father was forbidden by his wife to have the first time to have a second wife, which was Red Robe, which she was jealous in the first place. But it's nothing against having a second wife. So go ahead.
If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hatred, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated.
Right, so they call it, today they call it polygamy, if I'm not mistaken, all right? Which they try to demonize, but the scripture which proves more and more that all these customs are lining up, okay?
Then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he had, that he may not make a son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he had.
Right, so it's ordering behind that, so you don't have to worry about the man loving one woman over the other, and the women thinking that the man gonna do what he want because he got favorite sons and so forth, or he liked this woman more than he liked the other.
Which proves time and time again, this is liberty, this is freedom, because it's a perfect balance with the Most High. So if the mother of the hated son, like the brother was saying, he gets a double increase. And the one that's loved, they still get inheritance, but the one that's hated, the Most High kind of compensates that all together.
Yeah, and whoever the firstborn, he still get to inherit his father belongings. Not say, oh, well, I like the other woman more, so I like that son better, so you just, I don't really like your mother and you, so you done. Nope, can't do that. That's his inheritance. That's called order.
Yep.
Which they fell far away from that. And doing those ceremonies and those dances that they was doing with the cutting of the flesh, Leviticus 19:26, I think I just hit it. When the boys do the sun dance and they do the cutting in their flesh, that's why some of them was dropping dead from doing those basically heathenistic customs that they inherited as being called warriors.
So this is Leviticus chapter 19, verses 26. You shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall ye use enchantment, nor observe times. You shall not round the corners of your beards.
Or is it 28?
Or your heads. Yeah, it's 28.
Okay.
It says, verse 28. Leviticus 19:28. It says, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord.
Right, so all those tribal markings to prove you a warrior, and all the way up to today, the tattoos, all that shit is heathenistic.
Yeah, all that like the brother said about the tribal marks and shit, all that goes back to Ham, man.
Yep.
But it proves that they took some of those customs like Jake still do to this day.
Yeah, they still get,
Homosexuality and all this other.
yeah, through the colleges, they get brandings on them.
That's right.
It goes back to these like the college fraternities and Sig Phi Stigma and all that shit. Greek fraternities and shit like that.
That's right. So the next one is August 31st. It says, last night I dreamed of my mouse spirit helper. He told me not to be sad, that Pretty Eagle had done what she was sent here to do. It says that they would remember her, hear her, slogan, that they would remember her here for a long time. It says that she has schooled many little children not to forget her beginnings. All right. Ecclesiastes 12:7. Just hold it. It says, it says, but I fell in my one brave act. I told him, do you think only of yourselves then? He asked. Pretty Eagle's time here was done. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, think what else you could still do for her. I woke still hearing his voice. I wish I could believe him. What can I do for Pretty Eagle? I went to the infirmary where I go each day to have my bandages changed. The nurse says I will have scars. Good. I will wear them and be proud for Pretty Eagle. Coming out of the infirmary, I thought of what to do for Pretty Eagle. With my people, we believe that when one dies, her spirit stays at that place where she dies for many days. We also believe the spirit then has a long journey to make and should be provided with food. That's what my mouse spirit helper was trying to tell me. Okay, so Ecclesiastes 12:7.
Ecclesiastes 12:7. It says, then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave.
Right, so basically, there's really no waiting period. So as soon as the person dies, the spirit goes to the Heavenly Father, which they had a little knowledge on that, but
Show you how far they was going off, because that's that African pharaoh shit.
Yeah.
That's why they build them tombs, because they say that the spirit embodies itself in those tombs and it traveled through the underworld and they come back. That's that heathenistic shit.
And they leave concubines
Yeah.
and they leave food and
Treasures.
Yeah, treasure.
And it clearly tell you when you go to the spirit realm, it says the glory of the celestial and terrestrial are basically one. They're different. So when you die, you don't have to eat. All right. So yeah, they were going off on that. So Job 3:17.
Because the pharaohs, they'll even kill some of their servants to take them with them so they can have helpers on their way. And kill their certain animals and shit. The Chinese was known to kill Moab or Ammon. They was even known to kill they other wives and so forth and take them with them.
Job chapter 3 verse 17.
Yeah.
Job 3:17 say, there the wicked cease from troubling.
Yep. So when you die, whether you be wicked or righteous, you go into what they call rest. Okay.
And there the weary be at rest.
So the weary. So all in all, when you die, you go into rest mode. You don't go into, with the Egyptian philosophy or what these other people out here say. You come back, or you reincarnate into an animal, or no, you get immediate rest. Okay. So You can take it to 22.
Okay. Verse 18 say, there the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, which long for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than for hid treasures. When rejoice exceedingly and are glad, when they can find the great.
Exactly. Your spirit be at rest. Not still here dwelling on earth, trying to find a resting place where you need help from people to leave you food and gifts and shit.
Right.
That's it. 22.
Yeah, that was it. So this is the epilogue. It says let me see. It says epilogue. After she completed her education at Carlisle, Nanny Little Rose went home to the Rosebud Agency. It says, by then, her beloved grandmother was ailing. Her father had taken a third wife, and a Sioux Indian were existing on annuities, periodic issuing of food and fabric, given in payment for lands taken by the government. So that's another curse making its way. It says, seeing the abject poverty and despair, Nanny Little Rose returned to Carlisle to board while she attended the preparatory school of Bloomsburg. After graduating from Bloomsburg in 1889, she returned again to the Dakotas as a school teacher at the day school for Sioux children at the Pine Ridge Agency. Her grandmother had now died. Her brother, Charles Whiteshield, finished Carlisle and returned to the Rosebud Agency, where he joined the police force. December 1890 was important to Nanny Little Rose, and her brother, Charles, with other mounted Indian police, was sent to arrest Sioux Chief Sitting Bull before he set out to join Sioux ghost dancers, who were viewed by authorities as becoming wild and threatening.
Exactly, meaning Sitting Bull, which we got him on the poster, on the sign for the heroes, that he didn't give in to Esau, the white man, bullshit.
Yeah.
But you see how her brother, he converted and became a police officer. She went into the work field, but not all Gads stood by and just integrated.
Right.
They stood up and fight. And so today they get explained in history as villains.
Yeah. It says, in confusion, Sitting Bull was shot. The authorities saw the ghost dance melee as the beginnings of an uprising.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how they view you today. Anybody that stand up for the nation of Israel, no matter what tribe you from, they consider you in an uprising. That's why they call the Black Lives Matter uprising.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panthers uprising. The Indian, what was the Indians called when they had theirs in the 60s? All those organizations was considered uprisings.
Yeah.
National Indian Movement,
Yeah.
NIO or something. Because the Latins had one too.
Okay. Yeah, what's something to this?
Chandler Barrett.
Could you get Isaiah 1:23? It says, the authorities saw the ghost dance melee as a beginnings of an uprising. The military was called in. The Sioux were about to surrender when someone fired a gun, and in what has become known as the massacre at Wounded Knee, over 145 Indian men, women, and children were slaughtered. And this scriptures is for the basically for those enemies that are integrated into the American society.
Alright, this is Isaiah chapter 1, verse 23. It say, thy princes are rebellious, and companions are thieves.
Right, companions of thieves. Basically, they became companions of the so-called white man. All right.
Everyone loveth gifts and followeth after rewards.
All right. So when they integrate in society, the society present them with gifts. That's being part of this civilized community, or however you want to say. Now they become police officers, and they can occupy their own neighborhoods. And now the war on poverty and all these things, you know, the war of the classes begin, and so on and so forth. So, but the poor, which are the, you know, the people, the Native Indians, or the people that want to keep their way, you know, those are the ones that are poor. All right.
God, because the gift destroys the heart, man. According to Ecclesiastes 7:7. Because oppression is making us pissed off, man.
Yeah, oppression makes the wise man
mad.
mad.
Doth, God, they say, they judge not the fatherless.
Which are the only people. Fatherless are the people that, whether it be, it represents all of us, all right? Because a father is the Most High, all right? And we don't have a father, we don't have a discipline, we don't have a rule, all right? Go ahead.
They judge not the fatherless, neither doth the cause of the widow come unto them.
So,
Right, and that's what we doing. We straightening that out and showing why you have been forsaken of Yahweh Shah and actually a widow now, by showing you your sins, showing you your 613 laws, whether you hitting it on the spot or you going off. That's why on certain essence in the book we was reading where they was going off, like feeding the spirit and saying the spirit dwell here, we had to correct those, which actually reproofing it.
yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, that's on that. So, and back in the book, it says Charles Whiteside left the police, joined Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, traveled the world with the show, performing as a Sioux Indian chief. He never married and died in 1922. So basically, he became like a token, what we would call a token nigga.
Yeah.
But in this case, a token North American Indian. All right.
Right. And to fast forward up to y'all today, it's called entertainer.
Yeah, exactly. It says, while helping care for the survivors of Wounded Knee, Nanny Little Rose met a young doctor named Henry Yellowhair Cadman, a mixed blood Sioux who was educated in the White Run Indian schools. They married in 1891 and had 4 sons. Nanny's firstborn, Chauncey Eaglehorn, lied about his age, volunteered for the army at 16, and was killed in France in World War I.
See that? And they don't speak about that either. How Gad entered into the white man wars, World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, and they had them doing all the scouting dirty work.
Yep.
Sending them out in teams of 3 and 4 and using them as not only spies behind enemy lines, dropping them off, parachuting them in to them goddamn Germans and the World War I where they fighting them goddamn Ethiopians and shit, and having them get put to death basically.
Yeah.
Using them for their bravery.
Exactly.
They did in Vietnam. They had the Gadays crawl in those underground holes that the Viet Cong had scattered all through Viet Cong.
Yeah.
And we got a brother in the camp who testified that his father did all those things in Vietnam.
And they got a movie called Wind Talkers, and they used them to basically.
They show it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. They show exactly what the brother was saying. But when you watch that movie, it show you what they was using. They were the primary source of actually them winning the war. You know, because they was using the Native American tongue, confusing those Asians over there, and they couldn't really pinpoint and figure out, get intel on them. All right, so
And when they able to crack the enemy's code and so forth.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that whole movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie to watch. But it just show you how Gad integrated into society, man. It basically tore apart their culture, but it's all, you know, according to prophecy, what was to happen to you. It says, let's see, 4 sons, 16. Okay, back in the book, it says a grandson served with the Air Force in World War II,
See?
and a great-grandson was a suit demonstrator in 1969 when Indians occupied Alcatraz Island in San Francisco Bay to reclaim it as Indian land, and offered to buy it for $24 in beads and cloth, the amount the whites had paid for Manhattan Island.
See that? And I didn't even know all that. And they bought them islands, and what did they make them islands? Prisons.
And made billions and billions of dollars off the infrastructure.
Yeah, and send Judah to them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And keep Judah to them motherfuckers even today. And use certain islands as disease control, like the CDC. Plum Island.
It says Nanny Little Rose and her husband served the Plains Indians for years and retired to Oklahoma, where he treated Indian children, and she was active in the Red Cross and in lobbying for Indian rights. Right, and you got to lobby for Indian rights because the so-called white man is your oppressor, and he make it hard for you to survive. And you take the sustainability out your own, basically your own hands.
And they show you even after she got converted, the white man still haven't let up off her people. Because she got to sit on councils, not only experiencing living as a little girl, being converted over, but now watching generations, 4 generations later, still be oppressed.
It says she stayed in touch with Mrs. Campbell, her teacher at Carlisle,
Right.
until the woman died in 1930.
See that? Love her slave master.
She always kept the prayer stick given to her by Belrain Water and corresponded with Bell, who became a nurse, married, and had 5 children. Nanny Little Rose died in 1952 at 85. The grandmother of 5 and great-grandmother of 6. She left her diary to Lucy Rose, a baby great granddaughter. A constant supply of violets was kept on Lucy Pretty Eagle's grave until 1983. To this day, nobody knows who left it.
And that's only 8 generations ago. For all y'all who think that was a long time ago.
Right. So, yeah, that's the closing. So with that, we say, until next time, y'all Bashim Yal Shah Barakathon, Davan to the Apostles of Great Millstone, and we signing off. Shalom.
Shalom.